Hey guys, Kaitlin here. I just had to do a last minute swap from my computer to my phone, so I'm just finishing setting up. Alrighty. Hey guys, Kaitlin here. Okay. Figuring things out. That's the joys of COVID-19. Thinking on our feet. So, Kaitlin here. I am broadcasting live from my kitchen. A little sad not to be doing this with Clara. She's safe in her home, and I'm here at mine, and I hope all of you are staying safe and well during all of this craziness. So, Facebook Live for this month is all about meal planning and meal prep. And I posted this last week, I think, when my brother commented on my Instagram saying, "Why are you meal planning during a pandemic?" And honestly, it's helping maintain some normalcy for us. It's really easy to just get bogged down with all of the things going on with being at home. It's really easy to just work through the day and not even eat a meal or need to eat very quickly because of, hey Perry, thanks for joining. Anyway, what was I saying? It's really easy to just work through the day and not even eat a meal or not have time to grab a balanced meal. And so I see that with a lot of clients who are struggling to get balanced meals, even working from home. And so we're still meal planning and we're still meal prepping to make our breakfast and lunches much more easy and having an idea for dinner. And so I'm going to talk to you about different methods for meal planning, different methods for meal prep. And then I'm going to talk to you about my method. Everyone is so different, and that's where this can be a challenge to figure out what's right for you. But we'll talk about what I do and some of my colleagues do, and hopefully you'll find something that works for you. So, to start, I have our handy dandy book right here, Nourished. So we came out with this book last year, the end of last year. Clara, Dana, and myself were the authors on it, and we're really proud of it. And one of the chapters, struggling with my words today. One of the chapters is all about meal prep as well as meal planning. So ingredient 5, so this is Nourished, 10 ingredients to happy, healthy eating. Ingredient 5 is meal planning. I have seen, oh no, the dogs are barking. Another joy from working from home is having to deal with barking dogs in the middle of sessions. But meal planning varies dramatically from person to person, but it's really a matter of figuring out what works for you. Because if you don't have a plan, it is really hard to make sure balanced meals happen. So a couple different methods for meal planning or meal prep. One and done, essentially spending your time on Sunday or one day out of the week to cook in advance and have meals to just grab and go. So a cookbook that I really like that kind of utilizes this method of eating is called Cook Once, Eat All Week by Cassie Joy Garcia. And it's really interesting where she creates several meals out of similar ingredients. So you're not buying 5 different sets of ingredients that are completely different. She's utilizing the same kind of core ingredients to create completely different flavors, different cuisines, to make it interesting. So this is a great cookbook if you're into the one and done method. Some of it does require a little bit of cooking on the day of, but it's mostly just throwing it into a pan. Really easy. The other method that we like to use is leftovers for lunch. So essentially you're planning out your dinners for the week and you're utilizing the leftovers the next day for lunch, which is really easy. And then there's round 2 meals. So round 2 meals is essentially cooking something like an ingredient, kind of like batch cooking. You cook it, you use it once, and then you use it in a different way down the line. So we have a little sample menu here, and I'll just run you through some of the ideas that are in here. So on Sunday, if you have chicken, brown rice, and broccoli, a really simple meal. Later on, you cook extra chicken, and later on use extra for chicken salad sandwiches. Then we have a pork tenderloin with potato and asparagus, and later on you're using the extra pork to make barbecue pork sliders. The potato left over from Monday can be used for a chili and baked potato. And then rice that we cooked on Sunday can be reused for Friday's shrimp fried rice. So we're using kind of new meals throughout the week so that it's different and exciting, but it's the same ingredients, so you really only have to you're throwing things together more so throughout the week rather than cooking completely new meals, which can be really overwhelming. The other thing that's really helpful when you get home from the grocery store, I know a lot of people are dealing with lack of fresh fruits and vegetables right now, so this may not apply if you're going more for frozen and canned, both of which are fine. When it comes to canned, I do try to choose like low sodium or no salt added options, but chopping things up when you get home makes a huge difference. If you saw my video yesterday, I was making our lunches for this week, black bean burgers and roasted cauliflower, and I was dumping chopped up cauliflower out of bags onto the sheet pan so that it made it super easy. So I got home, I chopped up the cauliflower, I sliced up zucchini for another meal, I shredded Brussels sprouts and a little bit of cabbage, because the cabbage was left over and I just wanted to use it up. But I've been eating this like sauteed Brussels as part of my breakfast this week, and I'm not a morning person really. I don't want to be cooking elaborate meals, so I was literally just heating it up in the saute pan and pairing it with some roasted sweet potato, which was already done, and an egg. So one pan I had the Brussels and the sweet potato heating up, the other pan I had the egg, and I could just throw it together, which was really easy. Also shout out to stasher bags. I love these silicone bags. They're so easy. Reduce, reuse, recycle to save the earth with silicone rather than plastic, right? And then I use a lot of mason jars for my storage as well, because I like the tight seal. That's Gus, he's barking. So anyway, chop them when you get home. If you have good airtight containers, things will stay fresh. And then it becomes a breeze when you go to cook it later on. Okay, so those are some different methods for meal planning / prep. My colleague Clara typically will cook a bunch of recipes one day and then just use them in different ways throughout the week. So kind of like one and done, and then just incorporating it throughout the week in different ways. Whereas like myself, I like it just to be like planned out. I'll eat the same thing for breakfast all week and the same thing for lunch all week. And I'm gonna answer this question. Okay, Perry wants to know, what are those silicone bags again? I'll also post it, but these are called stasher bags. They are in different sizes, and you can get them at Wegmans now, which is really nice. So I will post that in the comments later. Anyway, so we will eat the same breakfast, the same lunch, and then different dinners all week because we don't really care or mind eating the same thing. And I say this meaning for 5 days in a row. We're not planning something and eating it for a whole month because I would get sick of that. But we eat the same breakfast and the same lunch for 5 days in a row. And it makes just grocery shopping and planning just a little bit easier for us. So I'll just go through what I'm eating this week. Breakfast, I mentioned, was the egg with shredded Brussels and sweet potato. AJ's doing a smoothie. Sometimes we do the same thing, sometimes we don't. And then I literally get a little notepad out, so we'll talk about that in a second. Lunches, black bean burgers and the roasted cauliflower. We're having that all week. And then dinners Monday through Friday are going to be different to some extent. Sometimes we do the same thing one day and then the next. So at the beginning of the week, lately it's been Friday because I'm trying to go to the grocery store a time when no one else is going. So we go Friday night. It's been working out pretty well for us. I literally get out a notepad and I write breakfast, lunch, snacks, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for dinners. And we either go off of themes for the week, which can be very helpful. Themes being Monday, meatless Monday, Taco Tuesday, Wednesday being pasta, Thursday being seafood, and then Friday we always have pizza to some, in some respect. So this week we had something that we needed to cook. We had a nice piece of beef in the freezer that we really wanted to make. So we have steaks Monday and Tuesday. And then from there, I felt like having some sort of chicken. So we grabbed some ground chicken at the store. And Wednesday, Thursday, we're having Mexican chicken burgers, which I was going to prep today. And then Friday, we had pizza. So then I'm thinking, okay, I have meat, I have chicken. I really want to do something meatless because we're trying to eat more plant-based meals. So for lunches, we did a bean-based burger mostly because we don't tend to eat a ton of steak. And so because we were having it a couple days in a row, I wanted to really get that meatless meal in there. And then breakfast, I was just really craving veggies. So I went with that roasted Brussels bowl. And that really worked for us. So I'm just going to take a breath because I've been talking a lot. Normally I have Clara to soundboard with me. But anyway, another method that you could do. So I told you I have the ground chicken for chicken burgers. Sometimes we don't really want to eat the same thing one day and then the next. So we will do something like half of the chicken or ground turkey or ground beef will become burgers and the other half will become taco meat. Or in this case, like ground chicken can make those like P.F. Chang's, copycat lettuce wraps, which are really good with the chicken. But today I'm just doing all burgers. So to be a little different, I got the ground chicken and I'm making Mexican chicken burgers. Pretty simple. I don't have a recipe. I just kind of throw things together that I think will work well. So I have a pound of ground chicken because we're going to have that 2 days in a row for the two of us. I'm adding about half of a diced green bell pepper and about, I think I'm going to do this quarter of an onion. Someone in my house doesn't like onion and it's not me. And I'm just going to mix it together. So you can see chicken. So with this being a Mexican chicken burger, I'm thinking Mexican spices, obviously. That's going to be chili powder. Probably like a teaspoon or so. Garlic powder. Oregano and cumin. So we're doing a lot of Mexican spices this week between our black bean burgers and our chicken burgers, but that's okay. We tend to kind of go in cycles because things get so old so quickly. We change things up. I'm not a huge cookbook person. Like I have cookbooks and I enjoy looking at them. But I don't really cook from them. I'm really big on Pinterest and just kind of Googling like, what can I do with ground chicken and seeing what comes up. Cayenne pepper, just a little bit. We like spicy. All right, and then last, I thought about this at the last minute, is some cilantro. So the way that I keep my cilantro fresh is I cut off the ends and I stick it in a container with water. I don't typically put the plastic bag over it, like a Ziploc bag that some people do. I have done it, I haven't done it. It usually just stays fresh like this with a little bit of water. Otherwise, my cilantro tends to go really limp really quickly, and then I just don't want it anymore. So I usually just pull off some pieces, and then I stick that back in the fridge. All right, I'm just gonna chop up this cilantro really quickly. Some people will add egg, breadcrumbs, things like that to their burgers. I just go on a whim. If it's not sticking together very well, I might add a little bit of egg. Okay, and that's about 2 tablespoons of chopped cilantro. Alrighty, and then I just give it a good, I almost forgot, a little bit of salt. If you're following a low sodium diet, you don't really need the salt if you have enough flavors. We also have a low sodium or no sodium taco seasoning on our website, which you can look up if you really need to watch your salt intake. Clara made low sodium chili, no sodium chili powder or chili seasoning, taco seasoning, Greek seasoning, steak seasoning. I think there's a barbecue one. I don't know. They're all awesome. Okay, so I'm just mixing this up. You really don't want to work ground meat too much, and usually I use my hands just to be a little bit more gentle, but I didn't want to stop and wash my hands in the middle of this video. So I just have this mass of chicken and veggies mixed together. I'll form it into 4 patties and then throw it on the grill. We're having it tomorrow and the next day, but we don't mind reheating food when it comes to it. Now, from a food safety standpoint, once you've cooked meat, you really want to consume it within 4 to 5 days. Otherwise, you kind of risk food safety issues. Fish, seafood, things like that, they need to be eaten within 1 to 2 days once you cook them. And when they're in the fridge raw, you really need to cook them within the next day or 2 as well. So seafood's a little bit more of an issue with food safety. Anyway, so that's really my process for meal planning, meal preparation. There's a lot of different methods out there. We have a lot of blogs to help you kind of figure out what works for you. But what it boils down to is having a plan. Because if you don't have a plan, it's probably not going to happen, or things are going to be really hectic. I know a lot of people are home now, more so than ever. But that doesn't mean that you don't think about your food. And really, in my opinion, I think meal planning is even more important when you're going to the grocery store and you have such limited options, or you need to go and stretch your your grocery shopping trip even further to maybe go every 10 days or every 2 weeks. So planning is important. To some extent, you do have to think on your toes, which can be a little bit of a challenge. Like, I wanted to make my broccoli cheddar mac and cheese last week, and we got to the store and there was literally no frozen broccoli anywhere. So I did cauliflower because that's what they had. And so a little bit of, ingenuity and quick thinking can be needed. But all in all, have a little self-compassion. Things aren't going to be perfect, but give yourself some sort of idea to know what you're going to be eating through the week. Even if you don't do any prep, just having an idea of what you're going to eat can be really helpful. Alrighty, that's all I have to say for meal planning, but keep an eye out on our blogs. Check out our videos that we've been posting on here, and I hope everyone has a good day. Alrighty, see y'all later.